Welcome to the Keelhauled podcast. I'm your host, CaptainLogun, and we've got a lot of Sea of Thieves news to cover today, so tie yourselves to the mast and hold fast. Ahoy there, pirates. I hope you had yourselves a good week and a good weekend. I know I did. This week, it is the beginning of Season 13, and boy, is it hot. There is a lot to cover, and we're going to be doing some of that, but this week is a very special week. It is the Gold Hoarder week for Sea of Thieves and the Keelhauled podcast, so we're going to be sitting down to talk with the Keelhauled crew. There was a lot of turnout today, obviously with the beginning of the season, so we're going to be chatting with them and see what their thoughts are and see if there's maybe some changes that could happen in the future with the Burning Blade. All that and more in this week's episode of Keelhauled Podcast. But before I get into any of that, I have to thank the patrons, the ones that are making this content actually for this episode, as well as this podcast available for everyone for free. It also helped me get to Sea of Thieves or Fest Legends. Really love that. Really love that you guys are willing to support this. It makes a huge difference as we kind of see what's going on in the future. So I want to shout them out each week. Everyone that is in the Captain tier is more than welcome to join in on the podcast at the end of the month as well too. So head over to patreon.com/Keelhauled podcast if you'd like to show your support. So thanks go out to Adorable, L Cute, A Potted Plant, Balls, Blue Turtle V1, Captain Chonky, Captain Hayes, Captain Longsharts, Chateau Neuf, Super Pack, Cloud, Cosmic Johnson, Static Mirror, Davram TV, El Jefe Esteban, Fergatron, Godhammer 6, Jorby Jorbs, J Hood, Carl Embo, Kylea the aficionado, who again jumped in very late in the episode. Really great to have her in. Cryptic Slayer, Lumpy SRQ, Evil Morpheus, Space Admiral Ors, Xbox Mike 29, Murphy Lives, Mutinous Max, Norwegian, Regis Stella, the Brony Pirate, who unfortunately is dealing with an injury. Hopefully you're feeling better, and sorry you couldn't make it this month. Replicated Flame, Ribloid, Rustbound Kid, Scamel 666, Captain Dasm, Tommy D, TN Professor, Big Bad Pat, Mina Fairy, Anthony N. Jr., Captain J. Rat of the Flaming Cold Sore, The Lord Chronologist, Deadeye Dre, Heger Owl, Jeff H., Captain Duckweed, Evil Martha, Peter Miller, Rooski Doo, Thor Von Blitz, Luke Lore the Insipid Ghost, and Zam. Wow, that was a weird one. We're going to go with that one. I like that take. Anyway, thank you all to the patrons who are supporting. Thank you to the patrons that showed up. And with that, let's get into the episode. Welcome everyone to the July Gold Hoarder episode of the Keelhauled podcast. This week is a very special week because last week I took time off because I was going to be traveling and actually going to the Fest Legends, which was amazing. I had a really good time there. We actually have some folks from the Fest Legends jumping in to kind of share their thoughts and experiences with it. I know Doug had sent out a survey to kind of get a gauge on what people think about it. But I wanted to make sure that we covered the actual like season 13 news. I have not gotten to jump into it. I played up until the Thursday and wanted to make sure that I helped some friends get the Plunder Pass knocked out as much as possible before the new season. Did what we could, but I haven't gotten to actually jump into season 13 yet. I'm a little eepy today, so I kind of want to get like a nap in before I jump in. But I'm excited to kind of see what's going on. I've already got my Twitch drops done, so like that's already taken care of. I've been watching people play and jump onto the Burning Blade, so I'm sure we've got a lot to talk about. But before we do that, I have to introduce the folks that are going to be here for this recording. So first, let's jump in. El Jefe Esteban. How you doing, Jefe? Did you mess up your microphone?
He might not answer right away. I know there's people at his house.
Oh, all right. Well, we'll skip on Jefe for now. Come back. Godhammer, how you been?
I've been just great.
Nice.
How have you been?
Good. Thank you. Looks like Jefe is fighting with his mic. I've been having a good week so far. Next up, we've got Jorby Jorbs. Jorby, how you doing?
Not too bad. Going good. Glad to be here. Kind of excited. It's been long awaited.
Yeah, you've been supporting for a long time. Good to have you jumping in.
Yeah, I love the podcast. It keeps me sane. You know, I'm a trucker, so comes in handy. You know,
constantly driving. Yeah, I know. I feel you.
Oh yeah.
And last but not least, we got Rusty, Rust Belt Kid. How you doing, bud?
Doing good, doing good. You know, just living through this first summer down here in the south. So that's interesting in the middle of all these pop-up thunderstorms and all the rain. So good times though.
Wow, that's just Mother Nature weeping on you for all the wrong that you've done her over the years.
Well, yeah, it's well deserved.
Yeah, maybe consider your thoughts in the future. I don't know. Is Hefe back?
I am back. Yes.
Yay. How you doing, Hefe?
Doing good. Just trying to teach Rusty how to handle all these pop-up showers down in South Alabama.
Well, he's not used to showering in general, so that's the real trick.
This is true.
I really have no response to that. I'm a little upset.
I mean, truth be truth. I can't say anything else. It's okay. Folks, I want to kick things off with some thoughts about season 13, because we've got a lot to cover and I want to make sure we get into that. And not quite everyone has gotten an opportunity to go to Festa Legends, so I want to kind of give folks something to listen to towards the end if they have. But that way, in case anyone that hasn't been able to go there hasn't made a chance or hasn't gotten to go to Festa Legends, if they need to dip out, definitely want to give them that opportunity. And we can kind of focus in here on season 13, because boy howdy, the seas be a spicy, like a very spicy meatball. And I want to know what you all think of it so far. So let me give a little preface as you kind of get some thoughts on what you think of the skeleton camps, what you think of the Burning Blade. But the Burning Blade now gives us a brand new world event. It's the first world event that we've gotten outside of the Fort of Fortune. Fort of Fortune was like the last one, right? Like we don't really count the fleets of Fortune, right?
Sort of, but not really.
Yeah.
It's the Fleet of Fortune is more like a side grade sort of addition.
I wouldn't really call that like a new world event, but Fort of Fortune was the last time we got a world event, and it really changed how people approach Sea of Thieves. It was like the thing to go do. And I feel like the Burning Blade is exactly that. Like it is now the new thing to do. And easily one of the things that I think a lot of people are driven towards. A lot of people want to go check it out. They want to get that whole big ship. It's pretty amazing. It's something that's available for everyone. Like it doesn't matter what size crew you have. Obviously, smaller crews are going to have a harder time against bigger crews, just given the nature of how many players you have to fight off. But this is like the first ship that we've actually seen that is crewed by skeletons that we can take control of. It's kind of cool. Once you take control, you actually pledge yourself to Flameheart's statue. The skeletons on board will start to repair. They don't take any resources from the stuff that you have. They man the cannons. The only thing they can't do is bilge, which I think is a very fair exchange given the nature of what we're doing here. But I really love the little bits of like treasure that you get. Like you do get a Fort of Fortune chest with it, as well as just like the Obsidian Ash and Winds skulls to help repel like borders and stuff. So I've really loved just some of the different stuff that they've added to this. And I wanted to open this up. If you have gotten a chance to jump onto the Burning Blade and experience it, what crew size did you go with? And what was kind of your experience?
We've been on it with a galleon. Is that right? Or is it a galleon and a brig, Rust? For sure, a galleon.
I know for the galleon, well, we did the galleon and we were doing the brig, but I remember the one I believe we were able to sink a player run ship and got the sword. But we didn't get the ship. And then I believe the galleon was the one where we got the ship, but I don't remember offhand.
Yeah. So far it's pretty good. It's going to be real sweaty for sure.
That's kind of the goal though, isn't it?
That's right.
Yeah. I feel, I've got to do it, both with, Black Rose with Prof, Hefe, and Grengar. We definitely tell that Grengar doesn't sail that often anymore with us because it was a little hectic there, so it didn't help the situation. But I also got to do it with Patty and I. We were able to take over the Burning Blade with just the two of us. So far, like the ones that we've gone through, obviously, you know, I watched Godhammer and Chenzo and them and other people where it was just sweats from the time they got it to the time they signed off for the night. I haven't ran into anything that sweaty yet. Even the crew that took over Patty and I mean, they were kind of talking trash, but, you know, like I said, we just ignored them. But other than that, I mean, it seems what I've seen is it's either, like we kind of said beforehand, it's either really sweaty from the get-go, it seems, or you know, especially if you're on like middle of the day, wherever your time zone is, you could get away with getting it and probably going for a couple hours and kind of racking up those skelly shrines a little bit. Because like the one that Patty and I had, like I said, the guys, they got it. We didn't really fight them, and we just saw them kind of going back and forth between shrines for a little bit until we got off. So I don't feel like there's going to be a middle ground for quite some time. I do, but other than that, you know, I think over time it might kind of maybe die off like other things have, but we'll see what happens.
I've had the pleasure of doing it on sloop, brig, and galleon. I've done a couple sloops. I've done a brig the first night with the grogged. I've done a brig with grogged, and I did the Holy Bartender with Chenzo, Bonobo, and Peoples yesterday, which was a lot of fun. We managed to get a hold of it on the brig with the grogged and the galleon, and we have run into some really tough competition. Like on the brig, the brig, the first night we did it was the toughest competition. Like, I wouldn't tell it to them directly, but they were definitely better than us. And the Burning Blade is an absolutely huge force multiplier. Just like it turns a decent crew into a better crew just by the fact that the skeletons help manage so much of the boat, and they do bilge, by the way. Yes, which is huge. Yeah, we sunk this. We were all skeletons fighting another brig crew full of skeletons, and they were very good. They were also toxic, so I would never tell them they were good to their faces, but they were good. But it is, and earlier today, me and my fellow Grog member, Lethal Charge, took out the Burning Blade as a duo sloop. I'm pretty sure it was being crewed by another duo sloop as well. And it is, oh my god, it's such a good addition to the game. It's so good. Just the fights we've had over this thing have been wild. I think with the Holy Bartender the other night, we were in, out of the 2 hours we held on to that ship, I think we weren't fighting for maybe half hour of it. It was wild. Wow. It's exhausting too. It's so good.
That's awesome. Jorby, have you gotten a chance to jump in?
Yeah. Well, what I actually done, I didn't watch any videos, so I was working until I finally got to get a proper go at it last night. It was me and my son on a sloop, and we didn't know that you had to park the ship, you know, within the vicinity of the Burning Blade to pledge your allegiance to it, and we both just jumped on, let our sloop sail off. There was a galleon came along, sort of exchanged with them while fighting the skellies on board, figured that we couldn't pledge our allegiance to it. By that stage our sloop had sunk, so we had to come back, which I was a wee bit upset that the spawn rates, so we spawned at the opposite end of the map, which actually worked out okay because the galleon obviously pledged the allegiance to the Burning Blade, give us time to resup, you know what I mean? We resupped, we went back, easy, fought them for 2 hours. I think we sunk twice because there was another sloop kept coming in, so it was just mayhem. But eventually we ended up sinking them, but ended up getting sunk by a brig who then came in, and that was after easy an hour and 50 minutes of fighting. Like, it was exhilarating, and I'm looking forward to getting on tonight. So yeah, after I get out of this, I'll definitely be jumping into it again. I want to get a go on that ship. It looks so fun. So it does. It's great fun deck fighting on it. Like, and I'm pretty sure I've only noticed. I watched the video last night. I only noticed that the Fort of Fortune's actually on the ship, and I'm just wondering, is it possible to steal straight out of the ship? You know,
So
actually, yes, you can. You can. It's not locked behind anything. You can hop on it, and take its chest and hop right off. I think that's one thing that probably should be adjusted. You should at least kill
Yeah,
it
and also,
before you get it.
and I know, as you said, we're sort of in that honeymoon stage with it. But I had some serious black screen issues last night, which I suppose can only be expected. You know, we're only a couple of days in.
Yeah, I think
So-
I think with the Chest of Fortune, like because it's kind of behind those little like the little bars almost, but there's no actual door on it really, if I remember correctly. It kind of feels a little weird that you can just go steal it. I'm not complaining about it right now. I know Patty and I talked about, especially if you're just like duo slooping, maybe just sneaking on, grabbing it and going, which would be kind of nice for now. But it does seem a little weird that it's not kind of locked behind and before you kind of take over the ship or whatnot. I know if I remember last night with the one that Patty and I took over, to kind of go off what Godhammer said about the Skelly's bilging, I'd like to see. I need to look through the notes and see exactly like what some of these mechanics are supposed to be, because I know not that it's been a problem. Really haven't really been paying attention to it much, but I know like the whole thing about like once you take it over, if you go and you complete one of the shrines, you'll have skellies that'll respawn onto your ship. Your supplies are supposed to replenish and whatnot. We haven't had a chance to really look into that, but I know some people on streams have said that sometimes not all the barrels will respawn with new stuff in it, or they're not getting skellies completely to respawn. It wouldn't surprise me if that's actually an issue. Not that it breaks the game, so to speak. I don't think it's something that we need to be too concerned about. I think it'll be fixed probably. That'll be probably one of the fixes that they actually get done if that is the case. But as for like the Skelly's bilging, I'd really like to look into that, because I know when we had the Burning Blade, it ended up being a really good sloop, but only one guy got on our ship that was really good at PvP. Eventually, a brig came along with a bunch of kids on it that kind of just teamed up with him, and it took them quite a while to sink us. And I noticed when I was trying to bucket water, as that was going on and on, eventually like we had no skellies left because they were just killing the skellies, and it seems like once they're dead, they don't just respawn. So it seemed like one of those things where it's like we had like no skellies left, and it's just us now, bailing water ourselves. But I don't remember ever once seeing like, other than the skellies patching the holes, I don't remember them doing much of anything else. I know there's been a few times that not like them even using the cannons seemed a little maybe off to me, but maybe it's just because we're not paying fully attention to what the skellies are actually doing.
So the skellies, they do shoot cannons for sure, and they patch. They don't bilge, and they're supposed to replenish if you go in one of the new shrines or like complete the ritual or whatever. That's supposed to replenish the skellies on the ship, from what I can finish.
Okay. That's what I thought. So I wonder, as they're dying off, obviously maybe that's the problem is, a ship comes in and all of a sudden like half your skellies are already gone, so you just don't see them, and therefore you don't really know exactly what's going on with them.
So that's the meta, I think, is to get on the ships and kill as many of the skeletons as possible, and that then dwindles down the crew, the actual humans that are on there, making it a lot easier to take out.
Yeah, at 100% is the way to go about it, is to try and get on there, murder as many of the players on it, and then just start going on a rampage, taking out the skeletons on the boat.
It's really interesting. I'm gonna toss this out there because this was something that came as a result of the Festa Legends rare panel that we were doing. One of the things that was brought up, and I can't remember what the actual question was, but it was a question about if there was a way for Rare to have it set up so that pets could automatically be summoned like when you log into the game. And one of the responses that got some side eye from Andy Preston and Shelly Preston to Mike Chapman was that Mike said that companions are something they're looking to grow and expand upon, to have more depth to. And given the how Mike is and what we've seen, I feel like that was a strong enough tease for something that will be coming in the future. And if we look at what started with Pirates of the Caribbean, first time we ever saw Jack Sparrow, but was also the first time we saw a NPC assisting us on a ship, so that if you were like a solo crew on a sloop, you had someone that would actually man the cannons for you during that tall tale to kind of help out. This is now the second time that we've seen like AI that traditionally would be something that would be on a skeleton crew actually assisting us as players, and that mixed with the skelly bombs, it kind of makes me wonder, do you think that we would potentially get in the future a option to sail a galleon with AI characters filling in the spots? So say you were a sloop crew but you wanted to sail a galleon, do you think it's possible for Rare to eventually build in AI companions to actually like man the crew of a galleon?
Do I think it's possible? Of course, I think it's possible.
Do you think it's something that'll happen this year?
This year? No.
How about next year?
Maybe. Yeah.
Logan, can you rephrase what you said there? Because maybe I just didn't hear it correctly. I'm sorry. I apologize. But
No, you're good. I'm kind of wondering, like, if you guys think that, and here's kind of my thought process. We know that the game's pretty unstable from time to time, and people drop. Do you think there's a possibility that you could enable a setting in the game that says, if I have a crew member absent on a ship that affords the availability of like a crew member, so say you and Hefe want to jump on a galleon, but you know the rest of the crew, you know, they're not going to be on for a while. Do you think that Rare, using the AI tech that they have for like blunder bombs, or not skelly bombs, and you know, like Jack Sparrow and now like the Obsidian crew, do you think we could get companions in the future to fill in those spots till people log in?
I mean, it's a great idea. I didn't think about it that way. I think that's a great idea. I don't know. Honestly, I mean, I wouldn't say it's out of the realm that maybe somebody at Rare's thought the same thing, because, you know, we all heard during the panel, you know, there's been a lot of stuff that we've all said that we wish was in the game or they would wish we could do. And they've straight up said, like, hey, like, we've thought about a lot of this stuff too. And it's just a matter of, you know, when or how to put it in, or, you know, whether or not the game and platform allows them to put it in. It wouldn't surprise me if somebody at Rare has thought about that, but I don't expect something like that to happen. I don't even think I expect something like that to happen ever in this game. But, you know, they have surprised us before with some things, so who knows?
Anybody else want to jump in with your thoughts?
Yeah, I think an idea like that would be cool if they incorporated it through the skelly bombs, you know, the bone crushers. That would be pretty cool. But then again, all I ever wanted, back whenever the Fort of the Damned was a real grind to do, you had different colors coming at you at the same time, pink, blue. I always wondered why they didn't bring us a firebomb that we could change color through the lights. That was always something I wanted. Like, would have been so cool.
Yeah.
Looking in the distance and seeing a player's ship on fire, but it's purple.
That would be pretty awesome. I wouldn't mind that.
Logan, the caveat kind of on what you just said, it reminded me of we were talking about, Patty and I were talking about yesterday. Or I mentioned to him, I said, hey, this is awesome. Like, hey, we took over the Burning Blade. It was just us on the sloop. Wouldn't it be cool if, you know, obviously you take over the Burning Blade and now your sloop's gone. Now, yeah, technically, you know, if you sink, you know, obviously you go back to, and Godhammer, you might know more about this. I don't remember reading it. You know, if you take over the Burning Blade and you sink, do you respawn on the same server back onto your sloop, or is it a different server?
Same server.
Okay, so you do. Okay, so with that being said, obviously it might not be as easy, but I thought it would be really cool if, hey man, like, we're on a sloop together, we take over the Burning Blade, technically there's spots for 2 more people. Wouldn't it be really cool if, okay, hey, we have it. Let's try to get 2 more of our friends in here, so that way we're not just 2-manning a burning blade, right? So like, okay, cool, we get 2 more people in here. I don't know how well that would work. I think obviously if it was something like that existed, then once you sunk, you'd probably have to either kick you from the game and you'd have to start over, or probably go to another server on a galleon, maybe. I don't know. But kind of to caveat kind of what you were saying, kind of on a little different side of the note.
Yeah, I mean, something that's been a big ask of mine for a long time was the way to dynamically change your ship crew size throughout a session, so you didn't have to leave the server you were on if you wanted to upgrade to a larger crew size. A lot of that obviously comes with the understanding that if there's a full server of galleons, there's no way for one sloop who happens to be well, I guess that would be still doable. Yeah, because even if there's a full crew of galleons in one sloop, there would still be room for 2 additional people on that server. So potentially, yeah, I think it could be something where if you wanted to, join up as a sloop and then say, this is great, I'm willing to take on a couple additional crew members to open it up to either people jumping in on your crew, or you potentially getting open crew people to join up on your ship. I think
massive wish list.
Yeah, I think the trouble there is that would you then, so say you got sunk, right? You lost the burning blade. Would you then have to respawn your ship with a galleon? And if so, if say you were on a captain sloop and you opened up your crew to 2 other people, would those 2 people stay with you? Would the galleon spawn which galleon? A default, a captained one from which guild, who's the captain? There's a lot of logistics that come as a result of the sinking of the burning blade that you would then have to try and figure out as well.
Yeah, that's why, I mean, as much as it's a great idea, I don't think something like that would ever happen. I think if it did, it would almost be like, hey, you sunk. Now, guess what? Here's the main menu. Start over again.
Yeah.
If it was even to be possible, I think there's too many hoops for something like that for us to jump through to ever have that happen.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. I kind of want to toss out this idea and get some thoughts on it. What do you think about having an option on the front end of the game that says, I want to spawn into a server where the burning blade has just spawned, and I want to be the crew of that. I want to actually crew that and forfeit the opportunity to do the ritual, but just go be a crew that sails around as the burning blade. Like, you wouldn't be able to actually perform any of the rituals. This would purely just be you controlling a world event ship in the vein of going around to be a menace.
That's kind of pointless though, because the entire reason you're getting on the thing is to cash it in for a big payday, and then if you're just doing that, you're tying up world events on an entire server, robbing other people of the opportunity to do a world event for no particular reason.
Yeah, I agree. I don't like that idea. I think that would be
interesting.
That's what Safer Seas is. That's what Safer Seas is for. If you want to do that, go to Safer Seas.
So gold is the only incentive to even touch the burning blade at this point?
Well, commendations, but along with that, it's you're sort of doing it for, unless you're just sort of messing around with no purpose. It's sort of holding up other people from what they might end up doing. I don't like that so much.
Well, I mean, wouldn't they just be able to go sink the burning blade in that case?
True enough. It could. But I think just the sheer fact that the burning blade holds up the rest of the world events, I think that needs a bit of a tweaking, because it's kind of, I know they're looking to draw everybody into that one event, but I mean, if there's somebody doing that, say, just hogging it and not sort of doing anything with it, I think it kind of defies the point.
I'd be curious. Oh, go ahead, Joe.
Sorry, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I'm curious because Patty mentioned something. Obviously the burning blade. I was under the impression the burning blade only pops when other world events are not up, right? At least that's what I was under the impression of. I thought Patty had mentioned that he saw a burning blade up, and either somebody had control of it or whatnot. We'd have to ask him. And then another world event actually popped up in the middle of it. So I don't know if, is that mechanic supposed to work like that? Is it not supposed to work like that? Because I was under the
that answer. The answer is that you see the red beacon in the sky when they board. You've already sunk the burning blade, and a crew has the sword, and the sword has not been turned in. But perspective, it still looks like the burning blade icon, but the cloud in the sky or the tornado in the sky looks the same, but it's just the sword. If you go and look at the map, you'd see the icon of the sword, not the icon of the ship.
Right. So I understand that part. I'm guessing my question would be, so if when the burning blade is up and being manned by a team of players, no other world events can pop, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Then okay. That's what I thought. So that's why I was just curious if maybe that was the case, and we were just misinformed or misspoken on.
He may have mistaken the beacon coming from the the burning blade of souls for the burning blade fire tornado.
Correct. Yeah. And I know, like, when you asked Logan, well, then, is the only reason why to do the burning blade is because of gold. Obviously everybody plays differently. Everybody has their reasons. But I think, if you really want gold, there's probably 1,000 other ways to earn gold. In this game that you might not have to deal with that much PvP. So, other than people wanting to PvP or possibly, and the combinations, I don't know. I haven't personally thought about gold, but I haven't thought about gold in what, Hefe, 3 years, 4 years? Like, I could care less about gold, but because we have so much of it now and we don't ever spend it anyways. So I feel like it's like, unless if you're PvPing or you want your combinations, there's no reason to do it unless you just want to, those two things, I would think. Or you want to create content, obviously, if you're a content creator. But
yeah, that's kind of the vein in which I'm asking this question, because at the moment there's nothing stopping a crew from monopolizing the world events as it is. Like, if nobody contests the burning blade, there's not like a timer on it, right?
Don't know. But one of the things I'm thinking of, also from just a lesser point of view, but just from the background, it doesn't seem like lore appropriate for just like, oh, here's the keys to the burning blade, go along with Flameheart's blessing. It's like, well, Flameheart would sort of just be like, no, you got to fight over my ship to take it over because the strongest pirates are the best pirates. And just being handed the burning blade is sort of antithetical to sort of his whole deal.
So lock it behind a certain distinction level on the Reapers to prove your worth, maybe?
Even the strongest pirates can be beaten.
Well, that's the goal of Flameheart, is to find the strongest pirates, right? So if you lock yourself into the burning blade from the get-go and you get sunk 5 minutes in, that other crew now has the burning blade. World events are still locked, as far as I know.
Well, the problem is that if another crew is captaining the burning blade and you go sink them, you don't get the ship. The ship sinks. You have to acquire the ship from an AI control perspective, not a crew control perspective. And I think taking over the ship is half the fun, instead of just starting on it.
Yeah, if you go in and you take over the ship, you're taking it from, Flameheart and the AI and whatnot. And then, obviously you take control of that ship, and, whether it's the whole dang server like Godhammer had to deal with last night, or, it's, one solo slooper that's got the gall to say, you know what, I'm doing this. If they come in and sink you and they, or they defeat you in the burning blade, that ship's gone now. So yeah, the sword still exists. So if that's the case now, other world events can pop up. It's not like it's locking other world events down. Now look, if I see what you're saying, Logan, like in the statement of, if you have 4 really good players, right, and they take over the burning blade and now they're just sitting on that server for 6 hours. Godhammer, what was it? Like I said, like 2 hours you guys fought last night. And if it wasn't for the one brig who, like you said, hey, I give you credit, you're persistent, you keep coming back. But, typically that's not going to happen. With what you guys had last night, 2 or 3 sloops, 2 or 3, another 2 brigs, whatever it was, it pretty much from the outside looking in, it's like, oh man, you guys are, it was hard fought, but you guys pretty much handled the whole server. So, at that point, and we all know how the servers are. If you run a whole server off, it might take a while for people to come back into that server. So if you run a whole server off and you're controlling the Burning Blade for hours, well, I mean, that's not your fault. I mean, so somebody's got to come sink you. Unfortunately, that's one server now that, you really can't use until some people start getting pushed back in there.
I think that's kind of my question is for crews that are purposefully trying to go in for PvP, and if gold isn't an issue and they just want to try and draw out the people that want to fight them, if a burning blade is going to spawn on a ship, you would get dumped on that server and just have control immediately. It kind of shortcuts the need to go and fight all the AI and sail out there and do that, especially if your goal is to just like draw people in to see if you can, how many you can defeat.
I think the problem you would run into is how many, I mean, just in this group alone, how many people do we know personally, on top of how many streamers we know, that if that was an option, like, hey, you're just going to sign into this, you're going to sign into the Burning Blade, how many servers would get taken up by just people being like, you know what, this is what I want to do, we're going to PvP for hours, and that's just how it's going to be. I feel like so many servers, now I don't know how many servers they have, but I feel like so many servers would be taken up by really, really good crews that would just run them for, hours and hours and hours. Mm-hmm. And then you'd have less servers, then you'd have less, the server stability would be even worse because now you're trying to fit a bunch of players in to a small group of servers because, we don't, like I said, we know how servers can be, you're on a server for 6 hours, 7 hours, and then all of a sudden the stability starts going down. You haven't seen anybody in 3 hours because people aren't getting pushed to those servers anymore. So I think that would be a huge problem, at least from my point of view.
Cool. No, I appreciate the discussion. It seems like there's valid reasons why you wouldn't want to do it. I'm just always curious, like, what's the next step for Sea of Thieves? Because eventually people will get the commendations done. The gold won't be as much of an impact, and it will be something that may go by people. Like, people probably won't engage with it to a certain point, and then it just turns into another Skull of Siren song. So I'm trying to think of ways to keep content like that relevant. And I think one of the ways to do that is to do what they did with the voyages, where they've kind of shortcutted the getting to the first island, and just giving players an opportunity to say, okay, if you're just looking for content, if you're just looking for PvP, then we'll give you the option to forego some of the perks of actually, having the Burning Blade, and you can just go lay waste to people if that's what you want to do, and you can jump directly into the Burning Blade from the start screen.
Well, from a takeover perspective, if it's AI controlled, it's not that difficult to take over. It's pretty, it's not super hard. So I don't think it'd be, if you still want to do that, if you want to be, get the Burning Blade and go chase down ships, then just go take it over and then chase folks down. It shouldn't be that big of a deal without having to, make massive game changes where you can just spawn onto it directly.
Yeah, I mean, even in that case, I feel like, how long did it take us to get voyages that were on demand, pretty like in a sense of you just you dive right here? I mean, if in 2 to 5 years from now, the game's still going and still thriving and whatnot, and Rare says, hey, you know what? Nobody's really engaging with this. We're gonna put the Burning Blade. It's gonna be like a on demand kind of voyage. If you want to go to it, go to it. I think by then nobody's gonna give a crap anyways. I think by then people will be like, okay, whatever. I think right now I don't know if that really works out too well because, like Hefe said, everybody here that's worked with it can contest. Like the AIs, we all know the AI is not that hard. I mean, the only thing that makes the AI hard is when you have other ships coming in trying to fight it at the same time. But so like I said, in a few years, maybe if Rare decides they just want to do it, I don't think anybody's going to complain about it then.
Interesting.
I think there's something different about this world event specifically, is in that you can see it on the map. You can see just how much that this ship is worth, given the little the number below the ship, with the number of tributes it's completed. And you can see, oh, if I go over there and manage to take this ship down, that's a huge payday just waiting to be grabbed right there. So it's a little different from like a Fort of Fortune, where it's like, I know that if I go to the Fort of Fortune, I'm going to make like 70 grand off this thing. But you have the Burning Blade, where I took it down with three tributes on it, and it was worth about 70 grand as well, thereabouts. Yeah, and that was for turning in the Sword of Souls, and it'll only get higher with the higher that number shows up. So that's something to consider.
And I think with what you were saying, Godhammer, I think in time, I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm crazy, but I still think this is gonna be like anything else that's been in the game. In time, it's gonna kind of die off. Not as many people are gonna be, once people get their accommodations and whatnot, and they've had time to play with it, not as many people are going to probably be going out of their way to do the event or even engage with the event. I mean, we've seen people now where they, you're sailing and all of a sudden you're like, oh, they're coming here, and then they just go right by you and they're completely ignoring you because they don't want to engage with it anyways. So I think in time that's going to happen anyways. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, whatnot, but I just feel like as events in the past have happened and we start to not engage with these things as much, it doesn't mean that, and we're all in a different group, right? The majority of people that play Sea of Thieves probably have nowhere near the amount of hour and dedication to this game that most of us have had.
All right. You don't got to brag that much, all right?
but at the end of the day, listen, Patty's probably one of the worst ones out of all of us. But at the end of the day, if we get on, and Godhammer, Hefe, all of us know, like if you get on and 7 months from now and somebody's got a rack of 32 of these things ran back to back, I don't care how disengaged with the event I am, we're going after it. You know what I mean? Because it's like, well, we don't need the gold, but let's see what can happen, right? So I don't think that's probably going to go away. But I don't think you're going to run into that as much. I don't think we're all going to get on and somebody's going to have a streak of 10 or more all the time. So as we start to disengage from it, I don't think you're going to see that as much anyways. So therefore, it kind of, I don't want to say it goes by the wayside, but let's be honest, how long till people start saying, man, we don't have any content in this game because, we just grinded 8 hours a day for a month and now we're done. So we shall see.
We're joined by Patty and Mina, who just got off the seas with season 13. Very curious to hear the discussion around the Burning Blade, how people are engaging with it, the what you like or what you dislike. I posed the question about being able to access the Burning Blade from the start of the game, to give people who just want to PvP, in this case probably foregoing gold as the reward, because it seems like that would be a little too easy for people to get access to, and we try and work for actually earning the Burning Blade. Giving them an opportunity to just PvP in adventure outside of Hourglass, give them a chance to go have some fun.
Hell no. Stick to Hourglass.
All right. Mina, do you have any thoughts?
No. I'm not quite as they need to stick to Hourglass as Patty is, but I can understand where he's coming from.
Patty, do you want to expand upon that?
If you want to go do first PvP, then stick to COD or Hourglass. Adventure is for mixed stuff. I guarantee you 90% of the people who are at the moment taking over the Burning Blade and keeping it for that long are either streamers who are obviously paid to play the game, or they are sweaty first person shoot 'em up players who aren't interested in the other half of the game. And at the even after just 2 or 3 days, if I log into a server and it is a player controlled Burning Blade, I will dive to another server. The balance of the game at the moment seems to be tending towards PvP and not a mix. And that's just that's just my first impressions of this this season so far. And I've only sailed 3 or 4 times. Yes, I do think the Burning Blade is a very, very good addition to the game. I do think it needs a little bit of tweaking, because if a galleon crew takes over the Burning Blade, if you're on a sloop or a brigantine, you stand no chance, because all 4 of those players can get off of that ship and still control it, because obviously they're still in control of the ship, but it will still fire at you. So you've got skellies firing cannons at you, and you've got 4 other players trying to board your ship. That's a little bit OP for me.
All
that
good
was something
points.
I think Patty mentioned, that you mentioned yesterday, Patty, about the whole issue of, like, if even, God forbid, if you're solo brigging, right? Let alone, but whether it's 2 people on a brig or 1 people or sorry, sloop, I apologize, but God forbid if you're on a solo sloop and you're like, you know what, I'm going to try this, and you're going up against 4 people, even if they're 4 completely incompetent people, they all 4 get off a ship, somehow they still control that boat, and it's like all they got to do is just spawn kill you till until you sink and you're done. Like, you have no chance. Like, there's nothing you can do about it.
I really like some of the counterpoints that you guys have brought in, which help kind of reaffirms my feeling that this is something that should be very organic to the game. It's one of the things I like about the PvP and adventure is that it is organic and you never quite know what's going to happen. Too often it feels like there's an opportunity for people to get kind of, well, not like a free, there's stuff going on in the game that I think people are taking advantage of, that while it's not something that I think is outright like bannable, you can get strikes on your account for doing funky stuff, and getting access to the Burning Blade too soon may be something that I hope Rare is like aware of, and that they want to prevent that. But I've also seen on Twitter some folks posting photos of the map table that has the Burning Blade, and the Burning Blade is sitting there at like 59, 61 rituals performed. I think I saw one that was in triple digits.
No, I've seen one with it was over 1,000, because I think Godhammer and Beating were talking about it in one of the Discords. In fact, for them to have done that, they'd have had to have had that ship for 48 hours to get that many done.
Yeah.
And so you're looking, well, hang on a minute, there's no way a crew of any 4 people, so they've been swapping crews all the way through. So Alliance server people are still around abusing the game.
It makes me wonder what they'll be able to do like for that in the future, if there's going to be obviously Rare tends to generally tweak things and stuff, but I'm very curious like how things are going to work out as we kind of see where people go with it, because I've seen some crews, it's been super sweaty on Twitter or on Twitch, but then on Twitter it seems like everyone's kind of like seeing a bunch of folks just grinding without any competition at all. And I really want to know what this is going to look like, because if it was the Skull of Sirens song, that's something where I think would you say we had about 3 weeks where we just had like consistent content and contention on it for the most part, and then it kind of died off after that. I want to say it was like 3 weeks.
Sounds about right.
But at that point, like, how many people are actually doing the Skull of Siren song? And I think the last time, I think the introduction of PS5 players was the first time that we'd seen a lot of folks kind of jumping back in and doing that, because we had a player base that was completely unaware of what that was. And it was the first thing that you were approached, or the first thing that you had access to when you got to your ship, if you jumped on your ship. So I want to know, like, what is it going to be that's going to keep the Burning Blade interesting? Obviously, at the moment, just the pure commendations, the gold, obviously the chest of fortune, real big draw. And I'm just wondering, like, what can they do to keep this thing being something interesting? Will it always be the chest of fortune?
I don't think so. I think like a lot of things with when it comes to like when you just log on for a session, you just like, what are we gonna do? Let's go hop world events and so on. It's something to do, and like not everybody's gonna be doing the world event when it pops up. Like we were doing it when we were doing the Burning Blade last night. There was somebody doing vaults over at Fetcher's Rest.
Mm-hmm.
So people are going to be doing whatever they feel like doing at the time. But I think the nature of the Burning Blade is that it invites challenge. You've got a big ship. You're looking for conflict. It's there, and you can see just how lucrative sinking it is going to be. Via the nature of the game.
Oop, we lost you there.
12 rituals on your thing, and you can sink this boat. That's a substantial reward, and I think I'd still go for Fort of Fortunes, even without the Chest of Fortune at it. So same deal.
I guess my question would be, I know it's been brought up quite a few times about like, you know, the lucracy of the shrines and stacking them. And my question, I guess, to everybody would be, you know, and not just to our community, but to Sea of Thieves as a whole, is you know, how many people out there, you know, other than some newer people, I mean, how many people out there, how many of us actually give a crap about gold? You know, other than the lucas, you know, other than the fact of like, oh, hey, guess what? They got 4 more shrines and there's the combination for it. You know, other than that, outside of the combinations, like once people complete the combinations, you know, are people going to still be doing this event because of the gold, or are they going to be doing it because, hey, it's PvP? It's a chance to, you know, like Godhammer, like you said, like the Fort of Fortunes, like Fort of Fortunes. I don't need anything from those. I could care. I mean, obviously the Chest of Fortune and Reaper's Chest, you know, I'm still trying to collect, but like, you know, other than that kind of stuff, like I don't care about any of that. It's more of like, hey, let's go do it because maybe we'll actually run into somebody. Maybe we'll actually have some competition, you know, which is why I think as we've progressed, at least as I've progressed, you know, I don't get as upset about sinking and stuff because it's like, well, you know, we wanted competition. We haven't had competition in 3 months. You know, we haven't sunk in 3 months, you know, unless if you go dive. It's like, hey, let's, you know, can we get some competition and adventure? So like, you know, once that starts dying off and people get those combinations, you know, I feel like to me, it would be just like anything else, like the Fort of Fortune, Fort of Damned. You know, hey, it's up. You know what? We want a little fun. Let's see if we can go run into. But I mean, it might just be typical Black Rose mentality. But I feel like that's just where my mindset is with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Like it's not even about the gold or the glory for me, to be honest. It's about the like every time you jump on, it's different. You know, if well, for me personally, if I was to sit and play Call of Duty or something, and I wake up the next day, like bar the conversations I've had with my buddies, I can't really remember anything that happened because it's kind of just the same thing over and over, as we're like the moments that you have in Sea of Thieves that are just completely random, I think is what really sums the game up for me. Like you know, I have loads of gold, but I would give it all away. I don't care about it. You know what I mean? I just love getting on and enjoying the randomness. You know?
Yeah. I think that's honestly the bread and butter of Sea of Thieves, which is always why I try to see like what Rare can do to keep that fire aflame and make sure that we have reasons to go and engage with other players and see what kind of weird mischief we can get into, you know. I think the last night of the server, I was with A Chick and we had just completed Fort of Fortune, hacked everything up, had one sloop crew just kind of cruise on by that we met earlier, and they were like, we sailed up to them doing a treasury, and they're like, hey, we're just doing treasury. We're like, okay, we'll let you live. And then sailed off to go do the Fort of Fortune. After we turned in, got the Fort of Fortune, saw a sloop coming by. Turns out it was them, and they were just completely fine going with going by and not bothering us. Stacked the kegs on the bowsprit, thought we would be safe, right? No, Meg spawns, skeleton ship spawns, skeleton ship like cuts in front of us, catches our bowsprit, gets stuck. Meg bites skeleton ship, blows kegs, we lose everything. Next thing you know, we're sailing back on our sloop to try and go back after I tried to like float as much of the treasure as I could. Then I start seeing the treasure donated notification show up on my season notifications, right? And I'm like, there's no way. That's something else. Like, there's no way someone was right. Nope. Yep. There's a sloop right there. Just a solo dude just scooping up our entire Fort of Fortune, came out of nowhere, and we had to sink him. And in the process, ran over the treasure that we had, and it all sank to the ground. Didn't get hardly anything from the Fort of Fortune. But it's weird stuff like that I think is what everyone really enjoys. So that's why I'm really curious, like what they're going to do with the Burning Blade after everyone's gotten done with the commendations and they've got their cosmetics and they've got their titles and stuff like that. What is it going to be for them to keep that being something that people will want to engage with? Did you all want to? Oh, sorry, Mina. What you got?
Okay. I would like to think that we'll just have silly nights where we're just like, what can we set on fire with this? What can, what silly things can we do as having this as our ship for the night? Just
are you
we don't fancy doing other things. Let's just goof off on this.
I'm gonna put this out there. The first crew that goes and gathers 50 animals, like 50 chickens, puts them all on a beach, takes the burning blade and uses the ashen roar to cook all of them at once, probably gonna get a blue hat.
That would be funny.
I mean, look what like Hippo and them were doing. You know, obviously they didn't expect. I don't think they expected to happen. But I mean, look what they did. You know, with the kegs. If anybody's seen the video, where
Right.
you know it completely rolled it and all that stuff. Like,
Well,
I think that's. Go ahead.
They did the launching where they just finished or someone had like activated the Veil mission, like the final one where the big encampment like comes up, launched the burning blade into the sky, and it was like, oh, people are already having fun with this.
Where can you harpoon it to? We know where we can harpoon the other ships. Where can we harpoon this one to?
Wouldn't it be great if the Shores of Gold just had the burning blade sitting there in the middle of it? I love stuff like that. I did want to see, what do you guys think of the skeleton camps? And if anyone also, the time is kind of hit as far as like the hour that we go, but I wanted to get a gauge on skeleton camps if anyone wants to jump into those.
I like the fact that we have an evolving world, that it's not static, and the actual mini events that they're pretty neat. I mean, they're not difficult, but it's all different. I think they're a decent addition.
I'd like to give props that the art team has created 6 distinct, separate, individually styled puzzle vault or camp vaults shrines. I don't know what they're called. They're all 6 distinct environments that all look different and nice, and it looks really well done.
Yeah, I agree with both of those guys. The fact that they're all distinct in their own little ways. You know, even like I know Patty and I were looking for the notes of the books, right? And we all just assumed they'd kind of be like in the same areas and you know and whatnot. And obviously they were all spread out. But I mean, even the one that I went to that's over in I forget which one it was, but the one you know I said last night when Godhammer and the boys were sailing, I was like, you know, oh look, like you have like a shrine of the ancients being dug out of the you know the sand at the one. It's like stuff like that. It's like, you know, obviously for those that have you know gone through a lot of the story, I'm not gonna say read because everybody knows here I don't read, but you know, gone through the story and know a lot of the story, like that's really cool to see. In a way I kind of wish there was more of them because you know let's evolve the world some more, but you can only wish so much, you know.
Put some in the roar.
Did they have ancients out in the roar? Was the shroud ever out there?
It doesn't matter if the ancients weren't out there. The Skellies have put them there, so they can take them with them.
Yeah,
Skellies
it's
are
like when
building
you take,
ways that they can just take all their stuff and go and build a couple out in the roar.
you know, when you take over a civilization, you take all their stuff and you take it to where you want it to be.
Yeah.
Have you guys had any?
I don't think you really want to bring up the specter of colonization in this game.
Well, is it colonization or is it just them relocating assets?
Relocation.
They're on inhabited islands for the most part anyway.
We're just going to gloss over that one for now.
Look, you brought up the whole idea. We're just talking about making more skeleton camps. Rare's already doing it. It's not us. Overall, I'm curious what you guys think about the actual moving of like the glass and the constellation aspect of it. Have any of you guys been checking out the lore or anything that's been interesting as a result of these? Do you like that they're bringing in the constellations, and do you think that the golden rewards are worth doing at the moment?
I mean, I'm loving them. It's something different. It's something that's been very engaging to me. The fact that I sailed alone for like 4 hours doing them by myself last night. Although I lost a couple orbs, I don't know where they went. I don't know if somebody was tucking and kept stealing them. I don't know. Maybe I was just tired and accidentally dropping them off the, you know, the front of the bow while I was looking for ducks. I don't know. But either way, like I did it for 4 hours by myself, just doing the constellations and collecting orbs because I enjoy it that much. I don't think the gold, to me, the gold's not something I care about. Once I unlocked enough of the little side pieces for the combination to be completed, I was like, okay, cool, I'm done. Until Hefe or them need to complete the combination or want to, I don't care. But, they've been fun.
Anybody else want to jump in with their thoughts?
I think the mechanics are good. Obviously, the first time I went down, I'd never done one at all. It's like I haven't even done one of Insiders, so I have no idea what I'm doing. So you obviously ping up. It's like the only thing I would criticize is that on Xbox, I don't know if it's the same on PC or anything, but when you take control of the glass light, there is no indication that you can actually use your right trigger to bring the focus in.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking at it going, well, what am I supposed to be doing here? That would be my only criticism of the.
Yep, I agree with that, Patty. It took me a few minutes to figure out what the heck I was doing when I was trying to do it.
Is that something that you guys think like a little pop-up notification on some of the like just what you should be doing, the way you grab like a rowboat for the first time should do?
I think just having a obviously X to interact with, it would have been nice to have that on screen, so I knew that something else could happen, whereas just standing with the main glass looking at the different obviously constellations was like, well, yeah, that's what I need to get. I've done it. How do I progress from there? And it was when Mina got on, and I'm getting a prompt. It's like, well, that's great for you, but if I'm on an Xbox, I don't get the prompt.
Interesting.
Yeah, for some reason I was getting a prompt for the kind of zoom bit where it narrows down, so you then use that to connect the dot.
Yeah.
I was getting a prompt to use that on the PC, but Paddy wasn't getting it on the Xbox.
Yeah, I mean, even on PC with controller, I didn't get it. So I don't know, maybe it's a controller thing. I'm not too sure.
Maybe because I don't.
Because I didn't get it either. I kind of just, with everything else in this game, I kind of went up to it and said, okay, obviously this is what I got to do. And then it wouldn't let me do anything. So I just started pressing buttons until all of a sudden that other lens came up and was like, oh, okay, this is what we got to do. I agree with you, Patty. I think if there was a kind of a prompt to kind of change it, it might make it easier, especially for people that have never played the game. So I wouldn't be opposed to that.
Did you guys happen to do anything on Insider that may have like changed how the prompt works, like, or triggered something like that?
I didn't do any of this on Insiders, so no.
Yeah, I didn't do anything on Insiders either.
I did. I don't know. It all felt fairly intuitive to me when I did it first time, because it's what we had to do in like the previous in like the Pirate's Life Tall Tales. There was focusing on that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Was there not? So I'm like, okay, I just have to focus in on this. So
I think we had the
yeah, I think for the beacons.
Yeah.
yeah. A lot of what I saw in Insiders about the skeleton camps was just a lot of people were just like, you need to make the contrast of which stars are selected a lot higher, because it was incredibly dim and hard to see which ones were actually selected early on.
High contrast mode for the stars in that case. That's actually, I like that. Alrighty. Were there other aspects to season 13 that you guys have noticed that you actually enjoy?
The new cosmetics, is it the obsidian bone crusher stuff?
Yeah.
Hot. Very nice.
Nice.
Yes, I very much want that figurehead. It is.
F.A., you're breaking up a bit.
I was saying that I definitely like that obsidian figurehead. It's very nice. I'm looking forward to getting that for sure.
Nice.
Yeah, there's a few things that once I started looking at them, and then Godhammer, love you, but hate you at the same time for pointing out that there's a couple things there that you also have to be up to like 200 in diving to be able to get. So that was a little upsetting. But we'll get there. We'll get there.
Oh, so much further than 200.
We'll get. Hey, listen.
300, 500 for the seared obsidian bones. Yeah.
Listen, I don't want to hear it. We'll get there eventually.
Yeah, we will.
Look, if you don't know about it, then it doesn't matter. It doesn't exist.
If you don't pay attention to it, it doesn't exist.
Yeah. The doctors don't know what they're talking about anyway.
That's not true.
How do you know? It could be making it up. It'd be gaslighting you. It's not really that bad. Creams
We
will
have
fix
to
it.
believe it. We have to believe in certain things. Dang it.
Vicks Vapor Rub is amazingly powerful. All right, that's all I'm saying.
That stuff is amazing.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
That's why you just stand at the front of the ship for about 3 to 4 years, and then you act like you don't know anything, and you're like, I don't know what do you want me to do?
But really, you know the entire map.
I mean, I might. I mean, Hefe might have taught me, but I just, where are we at? I don't know. Ask Hefe, because I don't want to answer it. That means I got to work.
Yeah, it's how much can you get away with without actually doing anything? That is 90% of people's jobs.
Look, if they put a duck in the game, I'm screwed now.
Speaking of animals, did anybody get a toucan? Anybody? No?
No, not allowed pets on the boat, so no.
Wow.
No pets allowed.
Grinkar got one, so we were messing around with his the other night.
Yeah, I shot it. I shot it out in the cannon. I didn't want to hear it. I was tired of it.
What'd you guys name it?
I don't know what he named it.
Was it Sam?
No, I don't remember what it was.
I want one.
It was a fruit. It was a fruit name, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like mango. I don't know. Mango fruitcake. I don't know. It was something weird. I don't know what he named it. Whatever he named it, didn't care. I shot it out in the cannon. He got mad at me. Whatever. He never sails. His opinion doesn't matter.
Missed opportunity.
Look,
What I do know is it makes a clicking noise that sounds like the Predator.
Yeah.
Yes, they did.
It does that.
Could potentially have been where they actually got the Predator sound from.
Very probably.
Just gonna toss that out there.
They took a whole bunch of things and stuck it all together for that.
See, God Hammer, if movies are a lie, why can't doctors be?
We can't do this here.
All right. Tons of changes coming in. Tons of changes for everyone. I'm gonna say this is probably a good wrap for season 13. We have 2 people from Festival, or no, 1, 2. Well, Kylie is not really here. 1, 2, 3 people. 4. I guess technically I count 2. 4 people from Festival Legends. 2 people from Sea of Thieves Fest. How were the conventions this year, fam?
Awesome.
Yeah,
I might go again.
Mike. Okay. Would recommend. 7 out of 10.
Yes.
Perfect.
I would like to say a big thank you to Carlia, though, for obviously helping Doug out and volunteering for next year.
Yeah, big thanks to Kylie, because I feel like there's so much, she's heard it 1,000 times, but I feel there's so much this year that I feel like she was involved with that a lot of people don't know or pay attention to, on top of trying to interact, with the Keelhauled crew and trying to do stuff with us, which, we made a big mistake and kind of dipped off one day a little bit without her. But hopefully we made up for that a little bit. But
I just,
listen, putt champ here. So I got the stage. Let me talk, sir.
Oh, apologies. As a day 1 winner of the putt, I feel like I have a little bit of a voice.
But in all seriousness, big thanks to Kylie. We love you to death. Everything you did for Fest of Legends and the stuff that Doug has been able to put together too. We know that a lot wouldn't have happened without you and a couple other people there this year. And massive difference. I know Hefe can speak for it. Massive difference from last year. Logan, you saw it.
Mm-hmm.
There's definitely some things that we can change and some plus sides that I know she's looking at. Without going into details and stuff like that, going into it, I told Pad and Hefe on the drive up, I was like, hey, I'm glad to be here because I'm with you guys, but I have no inclination of coming next year. It's not going to happen probably. If I do anything, it'd be going across the pond to Sea of Thieves Fest. But after everything was said and done, with the little changes that did happen, big changes that happened, sorry. I think there's more to come, and it's going to be even better. And not to figuring out some vacation for next year again to go back.
Thank you, Rusty. And I expect to see all of you there next year because there is a next year. FOL 25 is confirmed.
You hear that, Mina? All of us.
Yeah, God
I
Hammer.
don't have enough money for that.
We need a GoFundMe page.
We will find money.
Money is not hard to find. Getting it from people.
Passport will be getting done this year. I'm waiting for important pieces of paper to come back from my eldest getting his passport, which I need for mine.
You get down to Patty and we will find a way to get you over here.
Yeah,
absolutely. It will.
I can do.
Hey, it'll happen. We'll make it happen.
Because if not, we're doing a cardboard cutout and you're not going to like it.
Oh, God.
I have photos from past Sea of Thieves fests. We could do this.
I will say that we had 30 volunteers this year, and that definitely makes the difference between last year's 2 people running the show and this year's, people running the show plus volunteers. So if any of my volunteers are listening to this, thank you guys again so much for your time and effort, because it wouldn't have happened without them.
Yeah, I have a huge shout out to all the volunteers that stepped in and helped Doug. It's very obvious the difference that having all those extra sets of hands this year was remarkably better than last year.
Yeah, I'll echo that sentiment. This felt like a proper convention, and I'm very much looking forward to how next year turns out, because it's one of those things that seeing everyone come together from completely different groups of Sea of Thieves and really just all latching on to the fact that we're all here for the same game, and just really loved it. Really was nice to kind of see it grow, and I'm looking forward to seeing like what next year's gonna look like as well. Hopefully more folks from our community will be able to come next year with some planning, with some help if need be, and that way we all get a chance to kind of meet up. I know for a lot of folks, getting to meet up with other people or going into big social gatherings like that can be anxiety in driving. So totally understand it. Not to mention just like life happens. I think we missed out on Carides and Crow, who I was looking forward to being there. Both of them had stuff come up that they weren't able to actually attend. So with that, I know a lot of folks want to make sure that they are that they're taking care, and that they're able to do what they can. We also, speaking of community members coming in from Fest of Legends, Tommy D, how you doing, Tommy?
I'm doing all right.
Nice.
Naps are great.
First time having you on the podcast, right?
I think it's the third, but first time in many, many months.
Yeah. Okay. I know it's been a long time, but we did just end up seeing each other last week. So
yeah, it's all good. It's pretty much the same thing then, I guess. So I just came to come in the last couple of minutes just to pop in and say what's up and say I had a good time last week. That's all.
Yeah.
And I just want to point out. Oh, go ahead, Logan. Sorry.
I was just going to say it was really nice to have you come by. It was amazing to see your facial hair changes over each day as each of the different costumes came out.
Yes, and I lost my beard trimmer too, so that's gone in the wind. Never to be done again, I guess.
And I just want to point out that if Patty can fly to Mobile, Alabama, and drive all the way with Hefe and I to Ohio and back, you can do anything. Just saying. Anybody can do anything if Patty can do that.
Well, I think the fear of having to deal with like international murders probably prevented him from, like having to go to jail and then get exported back to the UK and stuff. So there's a lot kind of saved you guys on that one, I'm sure.
Listen, Hefe and I singing Shania Twain and 90s female country music together while Patty had to listen to it.
So this has been a great episode. Really appreciate everyone not singing Shania Twain or other country songs on the podcast. Definitely don't want to invoke that at all. Godhammer, you don't want me talking about doctors and stuff. This is where my line is.
This is not the place.
All right. Well, the place is in Sea of Thieves, where we can all hang out and chat and have fun with each other. Is there anything that anyone wanted to jump in with for Fest of Legends that you guys wanted to talk about before we kind of wrap things up?
I would like to say that the Fest of Legends people did an amazing job with our side of things. The 2 days was definitely way better than the 1 day. It was a lot more chill. And yeah, they just did brilliant.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear that, actually. Alrighty. Well, folks, it was really great to talk with everyone. I'm glad so many folks popped in. I will probably be going over more of the show notes, or not the show notes. What are they called? Patch notes next week, as well as hopefully some of my experience, kind of like what I was able to do on Sea of Thieves as far as the Burning Blade. If you all have any stories that you want to share, definitely feel free to send those in. I know a lot of folks weren't able to actually make it this week for the Gold Hoarder episode, so hopefully we'll be able to hear from them next time. I know like Static Mirror's hanging out at San Diego Comic-Con. I know Regis Stella is unfortunately just nursing a hurt knee, and the PC's acting up and stuff. But we will have to see if we can touch base with them next time we jump in together, which will be for the August episode. And yeah, I think that's it. So if you guys are good, then we'll go ahead and work down the list and give everyone an opportunity to say hi and goodbye and anything that they're working on. Starting off with Hefe. How you doing, Hefe? Is there anything you want to shout out or say as we head out?
Nope. But we had a great weekend. I thoroughly enjoyed getting to spend those 2 days with all you guys, and it was a lot of fun. And I can't wait until.
Same. Yeah, same here. Godhammer, we're heading out. Anything you want to shout out or say other than the Grogged and the Sherpas as always?
I mean, you gotta throw out love to the Grogged every time because they're doing great. We're almost at Distinction 8. Hell yeah, guys. Just a shout out to Rare. Well done. Great season. I think you've added an incredible world event, and I'm very excited to play it more and more and more and more.
Awesome. Next up, Jorby, anything you want to say or shout out as we head out?
No, I just want to say, keep up the good work. Love the podcast. I kind of feel like I know some of you from listening for so long, but it's been a long time waiting for me jumping in. I'm just glad I have. And also, I can't help but notice the new start screen. Anyone from the UK maybe noticed this, but it looks like gold coins and Jammy Dodgers.
I have to. Mina, Patty, anything?
I will need to pay more attention.
I need to pay attention when I log in, rather than just
time.
jumping, pressing buttons.
Oh my god. Just get me into the game. I need to sail. My god. All right. Next up we have Kylie. Kylie, you want to say anything maybe?
I want to say all the things.
Oh, well, now's a great time as we're heading out for you to say as many things as you want to say.
Oh, no, I was just making some notes. Okay, so I do want to throw a huge thank you out there to anybody that did attend Fest of Legends, because that was awesome of everyone to help us make a dream a reality. I'm actually working on FOL 25 already, so if anybody attended or didn't attend and wants to submit any recommendations, ideas, suggestions, anything, please reach out to me on Discord. I do want to say I'm so fortunate to have all the opportunities I've had this year to meet people who are near and dear to my heart and spend time with those people, and a lot of you are in this room right now, so it was absolutely a delight seeing everyone. Next up for me is PAX West. I'm going to be going as press. So that'll be a blast. So keep an eye out for some articles and podcasts and that kind of thing having to do with my adventures on that.
And that's over at Geeks versus Geeks, if I'm correct.
Accurate.
Yeah.
Geeksversusgeeks.com.
Make sure if you all love Kylie to give her some support over on there. She writes fantastic articles that really just kind of cover a lot of the different games that you actually play that are mostly indie games that I'm just like, how do you have time to do this when you're working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week?
Yeah, I don't sleep.
That's a must for me. That makes sense. All right, Mina Ferry, we're heading out. It's lovely to hear you. I'm sorry I missed you this year. I was really hoping I would get a chance to say hi to you, but Patty didn't want to do a FaceTime or anything cool like that.
Boo. Can confirm they look like Jammy Dodgers.
Yes. Told you.
Oh, I gotta go check this out. Okay.
The ones with the cutouts.
Okay. I'll look up Jammy Dodgers first. Is that the actual name or is that like the nickname?
No, that's the name. That's the name of them.
Okay.
They're biscuits with jam, really thick jam in the middle. Probably more like jelly, but yeah.
We have something like this. I don't know what they're called here, but we have something like that.
Really good. Yeah. Again, just the Sea of Thieves Fest's great. Looking forward to hopefully going again next year. Looking forward to maybe trying to get to the American one. And yeah, just I will be around online doing stuff.
Typically helping out Sightless Combat and Davram on stream to kind of help them get some content out there and actually get some money, some gold, some commendations and stuff worked on. Y'all have to yell at Davram for not coming to join us as well since you guys finished up.
I think he had other things he had to do.
Please. Adulting, get out of here. All right, next up, Rusty. Thanks, Rusty, for coming by. I appreciate your help with just everything, like getting stuff set up, especially the bowling thing at the end of Sunday.
No problem. Yeah, guys, always a good time. Had a blast at Fest of Legends. It was definitely awesome. Patty getting to come in and ride up with Hefe and I. definitely an experience. I think my butt's still sore from the drive back, but it is what it is. So I'm glad to see everybody there. Some couple of the new people that I actually talked to, because I don't really talk to people outside of our group very often. So that was fun. So glad everybody got home safe. Other than that, I got nothing.
Well,
hopefully see some people next year.
Hopefully everyone got home safe. I know CJ unfortunately got sick and then had his flight canceled. So I'm still waiting to hear if he made it back.
He was supposed to go to Chicago. He ended up staying in Columbus, from what I know, and supposed to fly to Chicago for some work stuff on Thursday, and then he said fly back home and go right back on vacation. So, but I haven't talked to him in a couple days.
Yeah, I hope he's doing well. Tommy snuck in here at the very end. Anything you want to say or shout out as we head out?
Shout out to everybody that I met out there. It was really awesome to see people with actual faces and not just avatars out there and real voices. It was pretty cool. Unfortunately, I don't have too many pictures because my camera that I bought didn't have a memory card, and I forgot to format the one I bought. So if anybody has more pictures that's not on the disc, send them out, because some people, mainly me.
Yeah, I definitely feel that. I did not get to take nearly as many photos as I wanted. And last but not least, Big Bad Patty, now having experienced America, are you ready to never come back?
I am ready to not get diabetes from eating food over there or drinking sweet tea. I'm sorry, sweet tea is just not my thing. Sorry, Hefe. I would like to say a big thank you to not only the SOTFest organisers, but obviously the Festive Legends, so Doug, Kylie, and all the volunteers, etc., because the last 10 days have been absolutely brilliant. Very tiring, sitting on my ass in the back of a car for 12 hours. But yes, had a thoroughly good time over the last week and a half, and I'm already looking forward to next year.
Awesome.
I'd also like to say a big thank you to the rare employees that came on Friday and Saturday to SOTFest, because I think half of the team were at SOTFest at one point or another. So I thank them for their support of the event, and I hope that next year they can do a similar sort of thing for Festive Legends and give it a bit more support.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. Having them show up for the panel alone was amazing. I know that they would love to actually get a chance to come over. It's always really hard to know whether or not that's something that they can get like expenses for Microsoft to be able to do. Always hope that
we could always just get Phil Spencer to drop in.
Yeah, like I didn't even think to call him. I should have dialed him up and had him come on down. Definitely have access to that, guys. Definitely. I would love for Microsoft to actually support some of these smaller conventions, so that, especially given how big Sea of Thieves is for Xbox, like it would be great to actually just be like, all right, yeah, just go ahead and have as much of the team come down and actually, like join in the festivities as possible.
Yeah, from a business perspective, I understand why they can't become involved, because it then means everything's got to go through Microsoft, and you then have to do insurance and everything else. But just the individual support from the developers made that much of a difference on the Friday, Saturday. So much props to them for making that happen.
Yeah, it was fantastic. All right, friends, that's going to do it for this episode. Again, huge thank you to everyone for coming out and sharing your thoughts and feelings on this. I really love just how much we all are enjoying the season. I can't wait to jump in. I really want to go just take all the photos. I just want to go read all the journals and take all the photos that I can of the Burning Blade, because it just excites me so much. So I'm looking forward to that. That's going to do it for this episode. If you guys have any questions, concerns, as always, jump into the Discord to ask questions. We do have the Sherpa program going, and if there's anything that Rare can do to bring more love and money to the game, crystal pigs, diamond pigs, and kilts. So that's going to do it. Thanks, everyone. We will talk to you all next time.